to fracking than the UK government. The UK government's taken a very gung-ho approach, which appears to be, regardless of the concerns the public have, we've just got to go at full steam ahead with this. That is not the approach the Scottish Government has taken, and it's not the approach the Scottish Government will take. We are taking, and will continue to take, a very, very cautious approach, and one that we base on evidence. Now, in terms of the current position over who controls what in terms of the decision-making around fracking, right now, the decisions about whether a company gets given a licence to frack these are not powers we hold yet in the Scottish Government. These are decisions that are taken at Westminster, although there is a proposal under the Smith Commission to transfer those powers to the Scottish Government for onshore licensing. And I welcome that, and I want to see those powers transferred as quickly as possible. In terms of the things the Westminster Government, though, is responsible for just now, what we've been arguing for is, firstly, and we've been successful in this first argument, the proposal that the Westminster Government made in the context of the infrastructure bill to allow companies to do drilling under people's houses without the people who live in the house having any right to object to that. We said that was an outrageous proposal and shouldn't be allowed to go ahead, and we've prevailed on that. Westminster is now not proposing to apply that legislation in Scotland. We've also said to the UK Government that we don't want them to grant any more licences for fracking because we think those decisions should be for Scottish governments once that power is transferred. They shouldn't go ahead and make decisions. And on that basis, we also tonight in the House of Commons, and the vote has now passed, SNP MPs in the House of Commons voted for a moratorium on fracking. Labour MPs, Scottish Labour MPs, with I think 2 or 3 honourable exceptions, abstained on that vote tonight in the House of Commons, which seems a bit odd given that on Saturday they were calling for a moratorium, and yet the first opportunity they have to actually vote for one, they don't bother. Now, I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions around that. So that's the position we've taken on things that are still the responsibility of the Westminster Government. Where our responsibility kicks in, of course, is on the planning system, because a company that has a licence to frack still requires to have planning permission to do it. Now, again, we've taken a very precautionary approach. We've already toughened up planning guidance. We've introduced for the first time the concept of buffer zones. We've also been looking at environmental regulation, which is already quite robust, but we've been looking at how that might be made even more robust still. And we want to go further with that precautionary approach. Now, I'm going to pause here slightly, and I know this will frustrate you, but I'll get into trouble if I don't. The Energy Minister in the Scottish Government will make a statement to Parliament, to the Scottish Parliament, on Wednesday of this week, and in that statement we'll set out what further measures we think need to be taken to strengthen that cautious and precautionary approach. Now, because he's making that statement to Parliament, we have to inform Parliament of that first, and I'm not at liberty to go into the detail of what will be in that statement. Suffice to say, I think when you hear that, though, you will see that in the Scottish Government you have a government that is not just maintaining, but is strengthening that cautious approach. Because in my view, while you shouldn't, in life ever close your mind to new technologies, concerns about community impact and concerns about the environment and concerns about health have to be given due prominence and can't just be brushed aside. And as long as the Scottish Government, and for the things the Scottish Government is in charge of, these concerns will not be brushed aside, and that's a guarantee I can give you.